Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining this. Welcome back once again. Just a quick introduction. This is the video blog series or webisode series by myself, Nisar Ahmed, and Eric B.Horn. We will be sharing in this interview career management ideas for you to take your career to the next level. A little bit about myself. I am the founder and the managing editor of the publishing platform Career.Advancement.Readiness.Enhancement, where myself and authors from around the world have been sharing our ideas, contributing content and ideas to help job seekers and freelancers to take their career to the next level. And I'm also the host of the Career Matters podcast. Career management is a topic I'm very, very interested and passionate about. And that's how I came across Eric a few weeks back, and we decided to collaborate on this project. Before I talk about today's topic, I will let Eric do a quick introduction about himself. So we get to hear from him, and maybe we'll get into today's topic.
Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Eric B.Horn, and I'm the founder of Eric B.Horn Incorporated, which is a career management and professional development firm for college graduates and mid-level professionals. I'm very excited to work with Nisar on this blog series. If you haven't checked out some of the previous episodes, I highly recommend you go back and take a look at them. We have topics ranging on mindset. We have topics talking about how to empower yourself and the tangible things that you can do to empower yourself in your career, knowing your overall why on why you want to do what you want to do in your career. And today's topic, which I will definitely be a student pertaining to this, is asking for help. Now, from a career perspective, one person can't be successful at their career without the aid or the help of their colleagues, their direct reports, or their family members. Everyone needs help. However, like myself, I don't ask for help. I'm learning to ask for help more, and I'll give you a story that's near and dear to me later on in the episode, which really forced me to start asking for help. But most people don't ask for help, and asking for help is a direct link on you becoming successful. Everything that we talk about, look at it like a big pot of stew. And the things that we talk about, whether it's, once again, mindset, asking for help, is just adding to the pot and stirring it up so you can be a very successful person in your career. I'll let Nisar go a little bit more deeper pertaining to asking for help. But like I said, I definitely have a story on what you should not do that can be more of a deterrent in your career as opposed to an asset. Nisar?
Eric, asking for help or reaching out to someone to help you is an interesting topic. A lot of people are not very comfortable doing it. In the last episode, we spoke about taking action, massive action. And no matter how much massive action you do, you cannot do it yourself. You need some help, right? Like, for example, let's say you start a job or a career. For you to move ahead in your company, to move up the corporate ladder, you need the help of your manager, your boss, your colleagues, everyone, your customers, your suppliers, right? So without them, you cannot go up in your career. And that applies for everything. And it's a topic a lot of people have challenge. It's something many people struggle with. Nobody likes to ask for help. They think that it makes them look weak, that you have to show the world that you are you're like the tree, in the picture where there's all the wind and you do everything on their own. And hey, that tree one day was planted by someone else. The wind, the rain, the sun, everything helped that tree grow. So asking for help is very basic, and it's amazing how many people are willing to share advice with you. And that one advice can really, you have no idea where it could take you. Right. And I wanted to share a story. So Few years ago, I mean, I only had one career. I was working in software, selling. I was working in sales. I still do that full time. My podcast and my blog, my platform. It eventually it came up organically as something I do on the side. But it's funny. I saw someone online I was trying to connect with. Initially, my goal was to sell to him. He was a C-level executive, and I noticed that he had his own blog, a podcast. It was about leadership and very impressive content. So I reached out to him. Hey, this sounds like something I want to do. Do you mind sitting with me for coffee? And just I want to pick your brains. He immediately replied, yes, let's do it. So I was like, wow, like two strangers. We were only connected on LinkedIn. Met him for coffee. I said, listen, these are my ideas. I don't have the confidence to do it. I don't know if I can be a podcast host. I don't even know if I can write, but something about what he did resonated with me. And he said, hey, listen, you might look at my title and be impressed and think that's why I started. No, no matter what you do, you always will struggle. You'll always have some challenges. And he told me everything. Like when you start a podcast or a business or anything, you will not get immediate success, but 2 years down the line, you will start people reaching out to you. So that gave me a confidence. We agreed to meet up every once in a while so he can catch up on my progress. Unfortunately, he moved away from Toronto. He went to the US. So I've only met him once. And that is think of it this way. It was an unpaid mentorship for someone who just sat with me for coffee. And that actually changed the course. And now I've created a second career, a business for myself, which I'm very excited about. And it has actually given me built a lot of strong connections. I get interview opportunities. It's amazing. So that one meeting and just asking a stranger for help really changed a lot of things for me in the last few years. That's my story. And trust me, it is nerve-wracking asking for help. It isn't that bad. Most people are willing to share, sit down with you and share their wisdom.
Yeah. Which is huge. It's just, and it was how simple that was. Just reach out, ask for help, and you got what you wanted. You know. As a segue, I'll be transparent when it comes to a part of my life. It's pertaining to my career, but then it definitely poured into the personal side of my life. When I was downsized in 2008, I was very prideful. I'm still a prideful person, but I'm a lot smarter. You know, I don't let my pride fully take over who I am as an individual, right?
Mm-hmm.
But once I lost my job, I, I didn't let them. I let a small group of people know, and also I told them maybe half of the story. And the half of the story was, even though I was unemployed, financially I was okay. Even though I wasn't, it was to the point where things got so bad that I was eating croutons, salad croutons,
Wow.
for dinner. And it really didn't hit home until, one day I was in the kitchen. So I was eating croutons so much it was just becomes like a way of life for me. So, but my wife, and when I was doing this, let me just backtrack. Um, I wasn't married to my wife now, but one day when we were married, she saw me in the kitchen eating croutons, and she was like, "Well, what are you doing? Why are you just eating croutons?" And I told her, "Well, it was a point in my life where this is the only thing that I had." And the reason why that was the only thing that I had was because I didn't ask for help, because I thought that, being let go, which can probably be a topic that we can talk about in a future episode. I was, so ashamed of myself from being let go that I didn't want to let people know what was going on. So I was going to do everything I thought I was going to do everything I needed to do by myself. But it got to a point where if I just would have opened my mouth
Mm-hmm.
and swallow my pride and ask for help, I wouldn't have been just eating croutons. That's not a a way to live, not asking for help, especially when I had people around me that was willing to help. And that's an illusion that a lot of people have to this day. If you're blessed to have people around you that can help, especially from a career perspective, and maybe even from a personal perspective, open up your mouth and say you need help. Everybody needs help. And me eating croutons was the defining moment for me to change my mindset. And like I said, we talked about mindset in another episode, but to change my mindset to start uh, reaching out and asking for help. Even if it was to the point where I asked help from my mother and my father and my family.
Mhm.
I didn't even do that until it got to a point where I remember, my mother was upset with me because I didn't reach out and ask her for help. It was either a mixture of being upset or disappointed or sad that it was to a point where I was just only eating croutons just based off of the fact that I did not ask for help. So I'm telling this story to you guys to say, regardless of what's going on in your life, reach out and ask for help. There are people, the help that you receive may not be from the people that you think that's going to help you, but at the
Mhm.
same time that you ask and you will get that help. Even if it's to a certain point where, someone helps you and empowers you to continue to help yourself, but reach out and ask people for help, especially when, if you're like me and you're always giving. If you're giving and pouring into people, you already have people, you know, queued up to genuinely help you if you would ask, and then you may get a lot of people that says, well, if I would have known. That was one of the things that was like a slogan that should have been stamped on my forehead. Hey, if I would have known that you needed help, I would have helped you. So even though the origin of how I didn't ask for help stemmed from me being downsized, you definitely need to ask for help and get help. These CEOs and these executives, they would be nothing without people under them or
Mhm.
under him or under her helping them, working themselves to the bone, pushing themselves to the limit to make the company successful. And a lot of CEOs and high level individuals, they're very, very grateful. They're very humble and say, I would not be the person that I am today without the team
Mhm.
that's surrounding me. Once again, even though from a corporate America perspective, when they hire or bring somebody on, they're asking for help. They need something, a role to be filled so they
Mhm.
can advance in their company and their initiatives or in their career legacy. So, for anyone that's on the fence and feels like they don't need to ask for help, or if they don't know how to ask for help, as a call to action, please reach out to us. I mean, I can give you tons of stories on, you know, other ways where with me not asking for help kind of hurt me as opposed to helping. And I know that was a little bit long-winded, but I think I needed to tell the full gist of that story so our readers, excuse me, our listeners and our
Mhm.
viewers can really understand the impact that you can bring on to yourself by not asking for help. And I'm still a student of asking for help also. So it's not like I'm telling you this, guys, and I've made it to the other side. No, I still struggle with asking for help, but I am a lot better now than I was in 2008. So,
Mhm. That's a great story. And actually, you know what? You mentioned 2008 um, was not so long ago. That's when the financial the crisis happened, the
yeah.
economic crisis, and a lot of people were in your situation. And some people were, they recovered quickly. So you shared a very personal story. Thanks for that. And I can I shared my story at the beginning where it was more of an accidental. But yeah, man, there's so many areas in my life where I don't ask for help, and sometimes you ask for help. And sometimes asking for help could mean just sitting down with someone, and they just give you like a virtual, like like not necessarily a physical slap on the head, but just shake you and say, "Hey, this is what you should be doing.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the next few minutes I want to talk about, we spoke about asking for help. We shared each other's stories. And man, I'm telling you, we live in the best times. 2017, going back 50 years, 100 years, something like this would be so difficult. Right now, at that point, maybe you only had your community, your parents and your family. Now, I of course, I'll go to the internet in a moment, but governments like, and I know as a matter of fact, if you live in any city, the city provides you employment assessment centers, agencies where they will give you coaching. Your local library. I'm a big fan of the library. I know I mentioned the library a few times in the last few episodes. You can go there. They have free courses. They even have a computer where they teach you how to build a resume. They teach you all about things. There are free networking sessions out there. So your city will be doing this for you, which is, it's free. It's amazing how so many things are available for free and people don't take advantage, right? The second resource I would say is, of course, the internet. There are so many resources out there, videos like this, this interview, podcasts, blogs, websites. Sometimes if you can't afford it, it's always good. It's also good to hire a coach. I've done that in the past as well. So that is also another form of asking for help. Sometimes you need a different perspective. Sometimes the library, the government, the city, your friends may not be able to give you specific advice for maybe you are a VP who got laid off.
Yep.
And nobody in your circle is a VP, so they may not be help you. So it's good to sometimes go to get outside help, like a coach who has that experience, and they can also open up your mind. So, man, I mean, I can. There's so many places where people can get help, and if the only thing I would say before I conclude this is, if you're not asking for, it's not a lack of resources. It's just you're not asking for help or seeking help that is causing you to be stuck in the position where you are today.
And I talked about the bad that came from not asking for help, but also let me shift the gears and talk about the good that comes from it based off of my experience. Once again, as a disclaimer, I didn't do a complete 180 when it came to asking for help. At certain points in my life, I still struggle with asking for help. However, and we talked about mindset, it was a mindset shift that went from, I'm not going to ask people for help because they don't care, to, at least let me try and put it out there and ask for help, and we'll see what happens. And not for nothing, I'm not, at this point now, when I ask somebody for something, I'm kind of not attached to what the outcome may be. I'm more satisfied and relieved that I asked the person for help. That's the win for me, based off of where I came from. For me not asking anyone for help, but me saying, okay, instead of having the doubt in my head that this person is not going to help me, I push through and ask, and thank goodness, a good 9 times out of 10, they do help. But even if they can't help, they will still, kind of put me in a position where they're just not leaving me high and dry. But from the overall feeling that I have is, one, that there's people out there that want to help me. The only thing I need to do is open up my mouth. And two, it gives me a great feeling of success that I overcame the negative mindset of me not asking for help. So even when I do ask people for help now, I feel like that I've won already, because instead of me just going back into the I'm not going to ask anybody corner, I push through, which takes some energy based off of what I'm trying to ask the person. But once I send that email out or get on the phone call or make that initial ask, I'm happy, because a tremendous weight has been lifted off my shoulders because I overcame me not asking at all. So I say that to say, sometimes when the initial win can be just you pushing through and asking that person for help. The added bonus would be the person saying yes, but just mustering up the courage, because it takes a lot of courage to ask people for help also. And that's one of the lessons that I had to learn, and I'm still learning. But mustering up the courage to say, hey, I need your help with X, Y, and Z. That can be from a career perspective or from a personal perspective, but I'll stay on the career track because this is what we're talking about. But just mustering up that courage to push through and ask that person for help, that can be the win within the overall win. So I just wanted to leave a good note based off of, me, the negative pieces that came with me not asking. Push through, ask, do whatever you need to do, muster up the courage, get in contact with us. If you need for us to, help you out, please do. But it's so much that you can accomplish by just opening up your mouth and asking the person, whether it's mentorship, whether it's help with your resume. Because on a side note, we can definitely do a like a free resource list of career management tools, because you're right, there's so many things that are out there that people may not know about. So for our viewers out here who don't have a problem with asking for help, maybe in a later episode, or maybe even a later ebook or resource list, we can provide that with you guys. But long story short, you'll be better off mustering up the courage to asking, and being flexible with you getting a yes or a no, as opposed to not asking at all. Please open up your mouth and ask for help.
I think you nailed it on the head. I don't think I can add anything extra on that. I think it's perfect what you just described. I think the only thing I would say here, an additional thing, maybe a thing to talk about on the next topic. You mentioned courage a few times,
Mm-hmm.
and I know, and we spoke about the Navy SEALs a couple of episodes ago. Courage doesn't always mean Navy SEALs and winning a tournament. It could also be going into your boss's office asking for a raise.
Yep.
It could also be, you got the job offer and you're not happy with what they offered. You want health insurance. All the small things are courage, and a lot of it's a topic that I say to everyone that I know. I don't think I'm the most confident person. I think I struggle with confidence, but I consider myself courageous. Even though I'm afraid, I take action. So the only thing I would say is maybe that's a good segue for our next topic,
Definitely.
or for our next few episodes. But in summarizing, I think Eric did it very well. He just summarized the importance of asking for help. All I would say is, if you ask for help, you're accelerating your chances of success, no matter what you're seeking. So if you do it yourself, you might be able to get to destination A, but if you want to take it to the next level, or even get you to that destination faster, that's where asking for help comes into play.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time and effort. You have a good one.
Have a good one, everyone.